So Luke says, "You want the impossible." And then Yoda just kind of sighs, closes his eyes, sticks his fingers out, and then all of a sudden, cue the John Williams music. Slowly lifts the X-Wing up out of the swamp, slowly moves it over to the shoreline, sets it down perfectly, takes a big sigh. Then Luke runs over to him. He says, "I can't believe it." And Yoda looks at him and says, "That is why you fail." What's up, Raiders? It's been 2 years since The Last Jedi basically destroyed the whole entire Star Wars franchise because a director by the name of Rian Johnson became so obsessed with online fan theories that he basically wrote his entire narrative around subversion of expectations, to the point to where things that happen in the movie are so genuinely different from anything that ever happened in a Star Wars movie before that it doesn't even make sense within the constraints of the universe itself. People are still arguing to this day about The Last Jedi. Some people think it's a classic, it's a timeless classic, it's a masterpiece. Most people with any semblance of intelligence whatsoever would say otherwise. Some people just think it's not the greatest Star Wars movie, and some people absolutely despise it as if it's Plan 9 from outer space or worse, as if it's the worst movie that's ever come out. For all of those arguments that come back and forth, I want to present basically this scene. And basically, this was an idea that came from my mom. We were having a discussion about Star Wars and The Last Jedi, and we went to go see The Last Jedi together because, my parents introduced me to Star Wars when I was a little boy, and that was one of the first major movies that they took me to that wasn't a Disney or a cartoon, and they were afraid that maybe I'd be too bored, and quite the opposite was true. My eyes were glued to the screen. Changed my life. Became one of my most favorite things ever was Star Wars. And there's one scene in particular from The Empire Strikes Back. I'd like to show you that scene, and it's what my mom and I refer to as the goosebump moment. So let's watch that scene first, and then we're going to come back and talk about it.
I don't believe it.
That is why you fail.
So that was my favorite scene in all of the Star Wars universe. It gives me goosebumps, and it's a very simple cinematic movie moment. There's not a lot of dialogue. It's all artificial sets. It's an artificial puppet. There's music. It's the marriage of music, pacing, camera angles. Everything gives you goosebumps, and there's a lot of weight to that scene too. Without absolutely having to come out and explain to you what's going on, they're basically Luke is learning that he has a much bigger role in this universe than he initially thought he would have. He, rather than just have a few powers, he's realizing that the Force is bigger than anything he could ever comprehend. The fact that this small creature that began taunting him, and then not believing that he had the ability to complete his training, and then proving that not only will he complete his training, he has a destiny fulfilled. All of these moments are communicated in just a moment's notice. It's the movie's way of saying, just because you appear to be small doesn't mean that you can't be powerful. All right, never mind the mythical force that's designed. This kind of thing can relate to anything. You know, I mean, it's as long as you maintain a positive perspective, as long as you have your eyes on the goal, then it is possible to overcome the unaccomplishable. I don't know if that word quite came out the way I wanted to, but what I challenge you is, I want you to find me that scene in any of the sequel trilogy. You know, The Force Awakens was basically Star Wars rebooted. The Last Jedi, is there a scene in the movie that's even remotely as good as this scene? I'm not saying that everything has to be as good as this scene, but this is the defining scene in all of Star Wars that still, to this day, makes me feel like a small child. It gives me goose pimples because it's magic. It's like you believe that these things are possible. All right, it's just the marriage of John Williams' music, the pacing, the slow, it builds up. You know what I mean? And I don't think that anything in The Last Jedi quite achieved this level. So the next time you guys are in your online arguments, you know, where's the goosebump moment at? You know, find me the goosebump moment and we'll continue the conversation, because I think the reason that it doesn't have a goosebump moment is because we've come so desensitized by technology that people just aren't patient anymore. They don't like build-up or suspense. They just want to hurry up and get to the action and then have everything explained to them so that they don't have to think at all. Everything is easily, quickly explained. And, you know, with The Last Jedi, everything that was built up by the first movie was just thrown out the window, and the movie forgot to develop any of the new characters that were introduced in the last one, nor give you any sustainable reason to come back and see where they're going to go. You know what I mean? It's like, why would you wipe out Luke Skywalker when the entire purpose of the first movie was to find him? You killed him off by the end of the movie. Some people might say that maybe he dedicated himself to a higher cause, but he literally sacrificed his life so that a handful of resistance people could escape in the Millennium Falcon. It doesn't really seem like it's that big of a weighty sacrifice. And besides that, he wasn't even there. He was just literally phoning it in. He was astral projecting himself onto a planet. Ugh. You know, the more I think about it, the more it makes me angry. You know, and it makes a lot of people angry. And, you know, it's... I don't know why people defend The Last Jedi, why they do this sort of thing. They think it's artistic. They like it because it's not like the other movies. Maybe they're just not really a big Star Wars fan. I don't know. I don't know why. I mean, it's the one movie that clearly tells me that there was no definitive story in mind. I mean, at least when The Force Awakens came out, we believed that there was at least an outline that they were going to follow. But by The Last Jedi, when everything was just kind of all neat and wrapped up and thrown to the side, we realized that, nope, they're just kind of making this up as they go. You know, and it's a shame that, I don't know. I don't know if they can ever achieve a moment quite like this ever again. You know, and that's sad. But, you know, next time you're online arguing with people and having them scream and yell and calling you bigots and all this kind of nonsense, tell them to find the goosebump moment in The Last Jedi. Or Solo, for that matter, all right? That definitely doesn't have any goosebump moments. But anyways, I just wanted to present this as some ammo for your next inevitable Last Jedi argument. Where are my goosebump moments? You guys have yourselves a groovy day, and this is the Groovinator signing out. Peace. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it somewhat entertaining. Please remember to depress that like button and subscribe to my channel for more content. Make sure you hit that bell icon so you'll be the first to know when new content is published. Please visit RaidersOfLostFlicks.com for more hilarious entertainment and links to all of our social media platforms. Also, consider supporting us on Patreon. As little as $1 a month supports our worldwide digs for more Lost Flicks. Thank you, and have a groovy day.